I went from like zero to hero in like a 2 months time. It was just absolutely crazy. But I mean, one of the biggest things is just consistency. I mean, if you're consistent on the phone, you're going to pick up listings. And before I knew it, I had 9 listings in a month.
Wow.
And it was just insane. It was almost too easy. I'm just like, what is happening here? Now, like Vulcan7 is like my prime asset in my business right now. My goal is to hit 400,000 in GCI on my 4th year. So I'm really excited about that.
Everyone, it's me, it's Aaron Wittenstein, and I'd like to welcome you to Vulcan7 Roadmap. This is where we teach agents how to take 37,354 additional listings a week. And we have a very, very special guest today. We're actually chatting a little bit in the, what do they call it, the green room ahead of time. Chris Schultz, over off of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. How you doing, my friend? Everything good?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming, and thank you for being flexible with your schedule. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. You have to in this business.
I know. So we were chatting a little bit, and I found your story to be interesting. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got into the real estate industry at the height of the COVID time. It was 2020. Everything just got shut down. In fact, I had to take my exam with the mask on, like the full protocol. And it was a little scary. It was almost 3 years ago exactly. I ended up picking up my first listing on my 5th day, just by happenstance. It was nothing special that I did, just from somebody on social media reaching out to me. And it was before I had access to like the MLS, or before I even really knew what I was doing. But luckily with our brokerage, we have, mentors and things like that. So I was able to kind of get the help that I needed. My mentor ended up actually buying the property from the seller, which worked out really well. And I thought it was going to be super easy because the transaction happened so fast. And at the end of it, he's just like, here's your commission check. And I'm just like, well, that's great. The only problem is that I really feel like I learned the process of sales. So we went through the first 3 transactions. I felt like I was learning a little bit, but it wasn't enough for me. So fast forward, I ended up joining a team in order to kind of help with that support, that camaraderie, just kind of get me, on the right track. And I ended up almost going out of business completely. And it was awful. I had this weird time. It was the summer of 2021. Where I had a string of transactions all fall through. I had like 8 of them all fall through in a row, and it was an anomaly. I've never seen anything like it. And it was all for different reasons. Some of it was my fault, admittedly, because I just didn't really know what I was doing. But a lot of it was like financing issues, or the buyer would just decide to back out, whatever the reason. And on my son's birthday, it was August 10th of 2022. I lost 3 deals in a row on that day. And we were in the delivery room with my wife, and she was like bawling her eyes out because I couldn't even like have the heart to like look her in the eye and be like, look what's happened to our business. We're a 1-income family. And this is it for us. Like, if I'm not selling houses, then we're not eating. So it was a very stressful time for me, and I knew I had to make a change. And at that point, I actually signed up for a coach. His name's Brandon Mulrennan. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of him. And he advised that I sign up for Vulcan7. So I got onto Vulcan7, and I knew cold calling was the way for me. I didn't know exactly how or what I was going to say, but he was a huge encourager of cold calling because it's the most efficient prospecting method there is. Whereas like door to door, when you're face to face with somebody, that's the most effective. But when you're just trying to hit numbers, which real estate is a numbers game, you want to get on the phones. And so I kind of, that was my last stand was with his program, and he single-handedly changed my career forever. I just, before I knew it, like I just did exactly what he said. And as I'm calling, like I can kind of feel myself get better. And I used to obsess over this stuff. Like I would watch his YouTube videos at 2:00 in the morning. Like I would watch hours and hours and hours of cold calling, other people cold calling. to pick up little nuggets, little tips, overcoming objections, things like that. And I found something that really, really worked for me. And before I knew it, I had 9 listings in a month.
Wow.
And it was just insane with how much it was. It was almost too easy. I'm just like, what is happening here? And sure enough, I mean, as soon as I put it on the market at that time, if you remember that the market was pretty nuts. I mean, they were selling like crazy, and like I was starting to make a name for myself. Um, and that's kind of how it all started. So I mean, now like Vulcan 7 is like my prime asset in my business right now. So it's been a crazy journey, and now I'm finally at a point where like I cannot wait for 2024. I'm gonna crush it. My goal is to hit 400,000 in GCI on my 4th year. So I'm really excited about that, and I really have to credit Brandon Mulrennan and Jim Chamberlain was another one, a huge influence from another one from Vulcan 7. I used to take as many classes as I could from them and just learn as much as possible. And I just found out what works for me. And there's kind of I wouldn't call it a secret sauce, but if there are so many agents out there that are incredibly aggressive on the phones, and when you stop doing that, things just kind of work out as they should, and that's the best part of it.
Okay, that was a lot right there, by the way. I feel like I rode that roller coaster along with you right there. And, oh man. So, how long between the time when your son was born? Because I can't even imagine that. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't even imagine between that and the month you took 9 listings. How long of a period of time was that?
My son was born. That was that fall. It was that fall. I had that was August. I left the team in like September, and I was October, like last fall, a year ago today, was when I really turned it on. And that was that fall. I remember. I think it was October. I think I picked up. It was 9 listings, and I had 6 closings the week of Thanksgiving, which was like the coolest thing I've ever. One of the coolest things I've ever done. It was just a phenomenal ride. I mean, I went from like 0 to hero in like a 2 months time. It was just absolutely crazy. But I mean, one of the biggest things is just consistency. I mean, if you're consistent on the phone and you burn the ships and you have your back up against the wall, I mean, you're going to pick up listings, and you're going to fight for them. And it's just incredible, how that all kind of worked out. But yeah, September, October was kind of like the time of me like kind of learning the system and kind of getting going. Then it all kind of just turned around that fall and winter.
So, are you a FSBO guy or an expired guy, or both?
I'm a FSBO guy. I
FSBO
love,
guy.
yeah, I absolutely love FSBOs. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to talk to them. And a lot of people are so hesitant about calling because they're afraid that they're going to get hung up on. They're afraid they're going to get screamed at. But the way that our system is like, I cannot think of one time where I've been screamed at. I get hung up every once in a while, but I like that because it just saves me a bunch of time. I'm able to move on to the next call. But but yeah, that's one of the most FSBOs are my bread and butter for sure. Then I'm getting referrals off of that now.
Can you call me? Would you mind? Because I talk to a lot, like we talk to a lot of people here, which is great. I talk to a lot of expired people, not as many for sale by owner people. Would you be amenable to a quick role play?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, I won't be super difficult, but I won't be super easy. Is that fair? I'll be moderate. I'll be a realistic for sale by owner.
Yes.
Cool. Give me a shout.
All right. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes.
Hey, Aaron. My name's Chris. I'm calling about the house for sale on 123 Main Street. Is that still available by chance?
Yeah. Do you have a buyer?
Not necessarily, but I might. What I'm doing is I'm kind of like reaching out to different sellers to kind of see what inventory is available on the market currently.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, if you have a buyer, you're more than welcome to bring somebody on through.
Sure. Yeah. And we might have a buyer. I'm actually on a team, and we like to like compare notes. A lot of agents will only stick to the MLS, and they're really kind of they're kind of blind to the big picture of what's available out there. So what we actually prefer to do is, we like to kind of preview homes and then kind of put you on the map. And then we're able to kind of build a profile out for you, put all the information in. And then as we come across buyers, we're able to present those as potential options moving forward. We may or may not have a buyer right now that's ready to go, but we do a lot of business in your area, and we come across buyers all the time.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you have, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So tell me, Aaron, are you getting a lot of calls on this property?
Oh, okay. What they don't tell you in for sale by owner school is that we get more calls from agents than they do from actual buyers.
Yeah, man, I'm sure you're getting hit over the head by calls with agents. And do they all have buyers?
I don't know. Some say they do, but no one's bringing anybody through yet.
Okay, but you don't have any offers in the property right now?
No,
right?
nothing. Not. We got an open house on Sunday. Hopefully we'll get some offers then.
Okay, great. Are you doing the open house yourself, or is another agent doing that?
No, I'm doing the open house myself.
Okay, great. Is this your first one?
Oh yeah, no. This this is the first one. We're really excited for it.
Okay. Well, tell me if just hypothetically speaking, if the house doesn't sell in the next like 60, 90 days or however long, would you ever consider listing it with an agent?
I mean, I don't know if that's something we're looking to do. I mean, I really don't want to pay the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it probably won't even come to that. You have a beautiful home. But here's what I would suggest, Aaron, if you're open to that, and I'm not sure if you are or not, but I'm actually available to be over in that area tomorrow at about 3:00. And what I can do is I can just swing by. We can check out the property. I can kind of fill out the information. Then I offer a backup plan to all my sellers that I talk to as a potential option moving forward in the event that it doesn't sell. So what I would do is just kind of briefly go through the backup plan. It might be for you, it might not. Either way is totally fine, but I'm just going to leave that information with you. But at least when I'm there, I can check out the property. We can put you on the map. Then if it's something that makes sense down the road, we can kind of cross that bridge when we get there. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that's fine. If you want to swing by 4 o'clock will be better. I'm not going to be around at 3. I'm picking up my kids from school.
Okay, perfect. I think 4:00 will be totally fine. Would it be okay if I also send you my resume that has a little bit of information about who I am, how I sell houses, and that way like who's coming over to your house? You can never be too safe these days.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. What's a good email for you?
Christopher Schultz. ChristopherSchultz.com.
Perfect. So I got your email. I'm going to send you my resume in the next 5 minutes or so, and I look forward to meeting you tomorrow at 4. And what I'm probably going to do is I'll either give you a call or I'll shoot you a text message just to kind of confirm that we are still good for 4:00 tomorrow, because a lot can happen between now and then. Does that sound cool?
Sure, that's fair.
Awesome, Aaron. Well, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, buddy.
Thank you. See, how can I put this? Is you're very what am I trying to say here? It's very easy. You know what I mean? Easygoing conversation.
Yeah.
It was just very nonchalant. That's the word I'm looking for. Very nonchalant. Yeah. Is what I'm thinking, and it was just very smooth. I can tell you've said this like at least 17 times, in your lifetime. But
yeah. I mean, it's every conversation's a little different for me.
Of course.
I mean, role playing is a little difficult just because it can go in so many different directions. But typically what I like to do is just talk about the house a little bit more in the beginning, ask some questions like, how old is the roof? Is it financeable? Is it good for a VA loan? Because we have like 5 military bases in our area. So I try to get some information on the property first, and people love talking about their homes. And the reason I do that is because it allows me to gauge where their heads are at. I can usually tell if there's a lot of emotional attachment. I can tell what their motivation is. I typically will ask, hey, if you got an offer today that was a cash offer and with a closing date of 7 days from now, would that be a problem for you? That kind of discovers motivation. They're like, oh, well, that would be great. That tells me a lot. I also like to know if it's occupied or if it's a vacant. Is this an investment home? Do they have to sell the property versus I would like to sell it at this price? But if not, I'll just hang on to it. These are the kind of questions I discover through the conversation. That once I kind of find out that, yes, they would potentially list as an option in the future, then I usually set the appointment right there. But go ahead.
Oh, I was saying you're very easy to speak with. And
yeah.
very easy to speak with, and that's always impressive because you speak to a lot of people. And I think what you alluded to in the beginning, I don't remember exactly what you said, but it'll come to me in a minute here. But you said you don't push people. That was the word you used a while back, and you didn't push me at all whatsoever. It was just like I was talking to a friend, and I think I don't. Is that so important? Is that so many people, and you could probably agree with me on this, is that for sale by owner is bad. You're bad. You're bad. Don't do this. What's wrong with you? You never disparaged me at all.
No, that's exactly right. And the whole philosophy is reverse selling. You don't want to try to sell your services over the phone. You don't want to try to list the home over the phone. What you're trying to do is just connect with people and talk to them like they're a long lost friend, like they're a classmate that you graduated with 20 years ago. Like that's the kind of approach you want to have with these people. So I've seen so many agents, they're incredibly aggressive. Like they're trying to hit people over the head with, you need me, otherwise you're not going to sell the house. And that's not the right way to go. What we as agents need to do is support their autonomy. Like they have already made up their minds of what they're going to do. Like they are selling this house on their own. They're doing that for a reason. Maybe they don't see the value of a real estate agent. Maybe there's, multiple different reasons, but whatever reason, that makes the most sense for them. So we encourage that. Like, hell, you probably won't even need to list it. You're going to sell this house on your own. But if it doesn't happen, I'm here for you. It's a hypothetical, like down the road, because it's a hypothetical, people put their defenses down. It's not like, I want to list your house right now. I'm going to come over and list it. We're going to do this. It's, hey, let me check out the property. Maybe we can find a buyer for you. Maybe not, but we're going to try. Our plan A is to try to find a buyer. That makes the most sense for everybody. That's exactly what he wants. I lost my train of thought here.
So you're saying plan A, right?
My plan is to find a buyer. Then our plan B is, if you can't sell it, then I want to be your plan B. And that's basically how we roll this. And that's typically a question that I ask. I kind of screwed up the beginning of the cold call, because one of my first questions, I can't believe I even forgot to say this, was, hey, would you be willing to work with a buyer's agent that brought you a buyer? That way people, because a lot of people won't, in which case I got to stop right then. I forgot to add that in the very beginning. And that's usually like habitual.
You're good. I put you on the spot every now and again when we role play, right?
But yeah. When I call and I ask them if it's available, they're usually like, yes, it is. And I'm like, well, that's great. My name's Chris. I'm actually a local agent here in the area. Are you open to working with a buyer's agent that brought you a buyer if the offer made sense? And 99% of the time they're like, oh yeah, absolutely, sure. Sometimes they're like, no. And by getting that yes already tells me that they're already halfway there. They're already willing to compensate a buyer's agent. Now I just got to get them to the other half of that, which is listing. So if they're open to working with agents, that's great news, because they don't despise agents to the point where they're like, all of you are poison, I'm not going to talk to you, click. So once they're like, yes, we would work with a buyer's agent, now we can have a conversation. Like, what's going on? Like, how can I help you? Other than bringing a buyer, sometimes I'll go over to people's properties and just kind of give them tips of what they can do better to position their home as the obvious choice on the market. I try to provide as much value as I possibly can without pushing them to list it with me. Everything that I say is more of a hypothetical situation. Like, if the home doesn't sell in the next 90 days, would you ever consider listing it with an agent? A lot of times they're like, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That usually means probably. Like, if they can't sell it, what are they going to do? If the motivation is where it should be, which is they have to sell the house. If it's like a condo, whether it's like a vacation rental and they're Airbnb-ing it, and if it just doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. They're still making money on it. Then, I usually have to dig a little bit more. But the ones that are like, hey, I have a job relocation, I've got to move out of here, I got to get rid of the house, then that's usually the motivation that I like to hear. That once I qualify them and have like a clear time frame, an understanding that they are willing to list it if they can't sell it, they're willing to work with a buyer's agent, then I can usually set the appointment. And here's the kicker. Once I get face to face with them, my numbers are pretty crazy. Because more often than not, I usually get a come list me call within the next 48 hours. And that happens a lot. Um, so I usually don't compete against very many agents. Like when that time does come, I mean, they're usually just kind of fed up. And once I get face to face with them, I have the confidence and the expertise to be like, okay, here's my resume, here are my numbers, here's what I can do for you. I don't come up with like a plan. I don't have a marketing plan because that's not the conversation we're having. This is buyer agent mode. Like I'm going to try to find you a buyer. So I'm going to get as much information of the home that I can, and I'm going to kind of use stories that I've had from the past to kind of relate to the customer. Story selling. So like I'll talk about a similar home that I had sold in the past, like a hobby farm or another oceanfront condo that looked very similar to this. So then that experience of how I handled that, any objections that I overcame, things like that. And people love hearing it. Then once I just kind of follow up, build that relationship, but then when the time is right, they usually call me and they're like, hey, I'm ready, let's go. And that's that. So I never have to like compete, discount my commissions. Like it just doesn't happen.
So what percentage in your market, what percentage of for sale by owners list with an agent? Do you know within reason?
Say that again.
I said in your market, do you know what percentage of for sale by owners wind up listing with the realtor? Or from the numbers at least that you put together.
I would say most. I'm on there pretty much every single day, and over 50%.
And then how many for sale by owners do you get in your market per day?
I usually get about 5.
Okay.
On any given day.
So let me just get this straight, okay? Because people complain there's not enough data, there's not enough data, there's not enough data. You're getting 5 times 30. I mean, so you think you get about 100, 150 for sale by owners a month? Is that right?
If that, probably a little bit less than that.
Yeah,
that sounds aggressive.
Yeah. I mean that, and the thing is, but you're listing a substantial amount of them. So it's not. What the point I'm trying to get at here, it's not quantity, it's quality. And your skill set, what you put together. I mean, I talk to a lot of people on a regular basis. Okay, the skill set that you have and the way you're coming across to people is very, very pleasant and very easygoing. And I think, and like I said, I'm going to agree with what you said before. People don't want to be sold. People don't want to have, they don't want, it doesn't work anymore. And it's just being a good person, right? Because you genuinely, to me, you're like a guy that I want to go hang out with and grab a cup of coffee, grab a beer, and I think, and that's my vibe, just hearing from you, which I love. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a huge part of it, is just being able to connect with people. I've seen a lot of agents, they're almost robotic on the phone. They're just trying to they have commission breath. They're just trying to make a sale. It's what's best for the agent. And you got to really turn that upside down and consider what's best for the seller. How can I help this person genuinely? And coming from a point of curiosity, just asking questions like, hey, have you gotten any offers? We've been listed for, 70, 80 days. Like what makes you think that you're not getting any offers? Like, what could you do better? Just asking questions like that, you kind of get sellers that open up to you. And then once you get them talking, you just continue building that relationship.
So, all right, I ask this question to everybody. Okay. And I think I know how you're going to respond, but let's say you have a brand new agent walks across your desk, knock, 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 comes in and said, Chris, you're doing so well. Give me one piece of advice. What's that one piece of advice that you would give that new agent?
When it comes to calling FSBOs?
Anything.
Is that
anything business related and anything real estate related?
I mean, if you're not prospecting every single day, you're going out of business and just don't realize it.
Oh, can you repeat that? Can you repeat that? Whoa. For those in the back, can you please repeat what you just said?
Yeah, if you don't prospect every single day, you are going out of business and you just don't realize it yet. But it'll catch up to you. But you have to prospect every single day. And that's one of the biggest things. Like, we are professional prospectors that happen to have a license to sell real estate. Like, that is my mindset. Like, I have to be prospecting every day. I've got to do at least 15 conversations every day in order to hit the numbers that I want to hit. So if I'm not doing that, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. And when it comes to FSBOs and expireds or anybody else really for that matter, it's about supporting their autonomy. That was like the profound thing that I learned with for sale by owner. I'm not going to correct them. I'm not going to be like, your pictures are terrible. I could do way better than that. Like, that's not what they want to hear. They want to be able to hear that they're doing a good job, and that's pretty much it. Like, hey, it looks like you've done this before. Cool, man. You're on the right track. You're going in the right direction. Please use me as a resource. If there's anything I can do for you, reach out to me. But just connecting with people and supporting their autonomy goes leaps and bounds. Like, most agents don't do that. So it's a breath of fresh air to the seller when you come across that way. Most agents are going to try to hit that person over the head and try to overcome objections. I mean, we spend hours learning how to overcome objections when really we should just be asking the right questions. And that's what it comes down to.
We should be spending. Oh, that is good too, man. You're just full of nuggets here today, my friend. I like you. I like you. We're gonna hang out. We're totally gonna hang out. So I just want to talk to you for the next hour. We don't have enough time for that. But so what do you got as like your final words to bestow upon everyone here?
One of the biggest things that I've really have come up with is the fear of failure. A lot of people have fear of failure and taking the path of least resistance, when we should really be encouraging failure. Because failing in the right way makes us a lot stronger. And being able to push through is just, on the other side of pain is growth. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone. A lot of people, like I've talked to so many agents that are afraid to call because it gives them the sweats, or, they're stressed out about it. And it happens to pretty much everyone. I was the same way. I was no different. But just after your first call, you realize you're not going to die. It's like, wow, like that was actually a good conversation. And it's incredible because I have some amazing conversations. I have some really good friends that I've cold called. That's how I got to know them. And now, like, I have some people as my mentor, as, like these very successful business people and investors, because I wasn't afraid to pick up the phone and call them. So you never know who's going to be on the other side of that phone. So no matter what, just don't think and just pick up the phone and dial. And that's one of the best things you can do. Don't think about, hey, I'm going to say this and they're going to say that. Then, we're going to go back and forth. I mean, just pick up the phone and just start somewhere. Then as you make your first call, your tolerance for pain will increase a little bit incrementally. And then every call you make is going to be a win. Either you get the sale or you get better at what you do. But no matter what, you're winning. So just keep going.
I like it. Yeah, I like that a lot. Chris, so tell me again all the areas that you cover, and share with us, if someone has a referral, how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the entire panhandle of Florida. I work the areas anywhere between Pensacola all the way to Panama City Beach. So Navarre, Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Miramar, 30A, Crestview, Niceville, all those towns. I've been in this area for about 20 years, and I've lived in pretty much all those spots. So I'm very well aware of the markets. But yeah, pretty much anywhere in the panhandle, I'd love to help you out.
And how can they get in touch with you if they have a referral?
They can actually go to my website, chriscloses.com. Easy to remember. That's the best way. And all my contact information is there. You can also reach me at christopher.schultz.official on Instagram. That's my handle on that. Or you can call me at 850-699-8891. I'm always available.
Beautiful. All right, brother. Thank you very much. This is great. I learned a lot from you, and I genuinely appreciate your time. And have a great rest of the day, everybody. Everybody take care. Chris, thank you again, my friend. Take care, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Be well.